Joe.
Greetings, I'm Logan, the G.I. Joe Gamer, and tonight I wanted to do something a little different. Um, I had an issue where I lost a lot of my data, a lot of my videos, actually all my older ones that I first did, and so I'm going to try this out here where I play some of my old Joe takes from right off of YouTube here, and if from StreamYards I can clip them if I want to. Anyway, so we're going to start off with something that's a little different. Hello, Sith Lordleaf, Spine Ticks, Yo Joe. I want to pick all four of them from the poll, but I'll take Duke. Okay, that's your choice. My Joe takes will speak for themselves on my choice of who's my favorite G.I. Joe leader, but I don't dislike Duke. I like Duke a lot, actually. He's pretty cool. But I'm going to start this with basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the video, and then we'll talk about them afterwards. So we'll start with this one. Let's see how this works. Greetings and welcome to From the Hilt. About a year ago during Cobra Convergence 6, Hooded Cobra Commander 788 asked me to give my opinion on the Techno Viper. For whatever reason, that video wasn't used in Cobra Convergence, and I've watching it back, I realize it's very grainy and not very usable as video footage. So perhaps that was the reason, but for whatever reason, it doesn't matter. I thought I'd include it on my channel just for fun. So here's my take on Techno Viper. I guess we'll call this Joe Take 0 because it was really the first video I ever filmed. And watching it back, I don't think I did that great of a job, but we're just learning here, so we'll see how things go. Thanks.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Hello, I'm Christopher Hill, codename Logan. Hooded Cobra Commander 788 asked me to weigh in on my opinion of the 1987 Techno Viper version 1. I liked it a lot. The purple was cool. I thought it was a way better figure than an upgrade from the Televiper. I liked all the accessories, which I don't have many examples of out right now, except for on the modern figure, which had all the tools. They were very similar, but not exactly like the original. I'm sure Hooded Cobra Commander went well over all of that. It did come with this green cone, the modern figure, for hazardous material. I thought that was really cool. But the Techno Vipers were the first Viper I Army built. I liked them that much. And without them, Cobra would not be able to repair anything, which not that they really care about that, but I hope that you like my opinion, and Logan out.
Yeah, there was that one. Like I said, that was just a little bit for Cobra Convergence 6, which wasn't actually played on Cobra Convergence. No matter. Let's see. Spine Ticks is saying I saw it on Instagram and then shortly after by email. Cool. Yeah, I missed all of that. I've got it set up so they can send me emails, but they didn't send me any about it today, which kind of sucks because I wouldn't have minded that. I just did, like I said, I just played that Techno Viper video. So let me see here if I can move this over to the next one, and we'll play my very first actual Joe takes, and it's kind of let me see if I can make this go a little bit better. That'll work. All right, I hope that didn't go through. Let me see if I can get this next one shared. Hello, Hack. How you doing? Let's say hello here. Okay, so that seems to be playing. So What is going on with that? So weird to deal with YouTube and stuff. So we'll see if I can get this right this time. I know there are better ways to do it, but I thought I'd have some fun with it. That's why I'm doing it this way. So, okay, it keeps playing the video. Now I'll play it. Let me get it shared. Here we go. All right, Joe Fair, it's time to have some fun on this channel. And we're going to talk a bit about G.I. Joe today. So today, it's Flint from the Hilt. We're going to start with Flint's first action figure. I know a lot of people probably have this figure. He was my first field commander as a kid. I always liked Flint better as the G.I. Joe leader anyway, so it just works for me. But I want to really get more to the newer Flint, the classified Flint here in a bit, but I want to go over a few things that I have. I have a lot of Flint action figures, but I have a few card examples like this one here. I like this one a lot because Flint and Mutt did that the Revenge of Cobra movie where they both first appeared, so that was pretty cool. I always wanted to make a Mutt by using one of these bodies and a Mutt head, but I never got around to it. Classified came out, and well, that kind of took over that area. Another thing I wanted to talk about a bit was when they joined when he joined Tiger Force. A lot of people assume that Duke was the Tiger Force leader. Well, he's the Tiger Force first sergeant, and Flint is the Tiger Force leader. Now, the way I explain that is Flint's the officer and Duke is the senior NCO or sergeant on the team. Now, that takes us to the classified figure. Now, we'll start with the packaging. First of all, what is this shit? A snow cone maker, ice cream scooper. I don't know. They don't need that. It's all over the box. It's here on the bottom. If I can ever figure this out, it's here on the bottom. It's on the bottom at the back. Why do we need it twice? Yeah, I understand that it's for kids and for legal purposes, probably. But to have it twice, parents are just going to throw that out. Collectors, I've got a stack of them that I probably should have thrown out, but I like to collect, so there I am. But I did dig this box art with Flint. The artwork is really good. Not so much on the side. That picture is, but it's cool. I like the style. But like I said, Flint was all. He's not my favorite Joe, but he's my favorite leader. He's definitely in my top 10, which I may do a top 10 list. I have a list of top 10 Joes and Cobras that I prefer over and all the rest. But that takes us to the classified figure, and there he is. He's very well done. I dig the beret. I don't really care for the haircut, so I'm not taking his hat off. A lot of people feel that way. I like the gun sheath in the back for his shotgun. I like the fact that he can load up his shotgun and then snap it up here if I can do it. Boom. Just like that. And that's Flint. Now, what sets Flint apart from all the other Joes and all the other Joe leaders is that, like Hawk, he's an officer, and most people, his first file card had him listed as an E6, which is a staff sergeant, which makes no sense because he's a warrant officer, so he should at least be WO1 or 2. Now, I've seen file cards where he's listed as W02 and W03, um, but that's not the function he played on the GI Joe team. Now, Flint, when he was in the comics, he was always like the leader they'd send out on certain missions that required an officer. Um, like when Zartan escaped from GI Joe headquarters in issue 51, it was Flint that went after him with a team of Joes, which was kind of cool. That was also Sergeant Slaughter's big moment in the comics, and they were both on that one. That was pretty cool. Um, but Flint gets a bad rap like Hawk in a lot of ways. And Hawk's training is old school, and Flint actually, most people assume that Flint's not one of the original 13, but he was in Larry Hama's original concept of Fury Force. I don't think he gets the love in the comics that he should get, although he is featured very prominently most of the time. It took Larry Hama 3 years to get the Baroness in there, even though she was in the first issue of G.I. Joe, so it doesn't surprise me that Flint didn't come out until 1985. A lot of Larry Hama's characters he's kind of put in there from his original concept out of Fury Force, and Flint's was probably featured in that artwork, so we knew that Flint was coming at some point. And when he showed up in Revenge of Cobra early, that was kind of cool too. Um, we like to we have our collection, and I actually can't wait for the Tiger Force Flint to come out, because if they don't, that'd be weird. But they have the Tiger Force Duke with the Ram already, and that's pretty cool. But like I said, I prefer Flint as the leader. And the way I always saw it was that in the comics he served as executive officer, and depending on your point of view, that makes him either the commanding officer or the second in command. Uh, in the cartoon, they laid it out where it was Hawk, Duke, Flint, Beachhead. Now, the way I view that is Hawk was the overall commander. Duke was his senior NCO, or non-commissioned officer, his first sergeant. Flint was the next officer in charge. And then Beachhead was Flint's NCO. So that's the kind of way I see that. And in the cartoon, Flint kind of served in the role of captain. He had his own office. Whenever there was a problem, the Joes would go to Flint. They didn't go to Duke. They didn't go to Hawk. They didn't go to their sergeant. They went to Flint, which that's the chain of command. You go to your captain. And so Flint actually served as the GI Joe captain in the cartoon. Now in the comics, it's not as defined. I know Larry Hama has his own system of ranks that includes Scarlet and Stalker, and doesn't include Sergeant Slaughter, and I don't blame him. That was kind of a character that was kind of forced on him. But Sergeant Slaughter is really cool. I like Sergeant Slaughter. He's as a leader, he's pretty cool. I like the Marauders, and I didn't really care for the original Marauders figures, but I gotta admit, this Slaughter's Marauders barbecue looks pretty cool. I mean, not like the original. The original didn't look as good, but hopefully they'll do a lot better with them, like they've done with the Tiger Force. I mean, the Tiger Force bazooka, which I have, it looks really good, and I can't wait till the actual main release comes out. It's like Hooded Cobra Commander pointed out, 788. This is the away jersey, so it'll be nice to actually have them both. I have both Outbacks as well. Outback looks really good as Tiger Force, and in his regular release, he looks really good. But getting back to Flint, he's always the one that's put in charge of special units. Originally, it was Tiger Force. Then it was the ill-fated Eco Warriors. I think the problem they had with the Eco Warriors is they didn't they made him look ridiculous, and they didn't include Airtight. Airtight was the premier hostile environment. He was the toxic trooper. He's the one who handled all the toxic chemicals and ordnance, all that stuff that was hazardous. So he was the hazmat guy. That's what it is. And it's interesting that he appeared in the line right when Flint did. So Flint, the way I view Flint in the current era of GI Joe is that he's their captain. Duke is their first sergeant. For a time, he took over for Hawk when Hawk was still a colonel and learned to do all that behind the scenes stuff and office work as a general. And when he became a general, he went back to being the first sergeant. But for a time there, in that period, he was the acting major because they had to have a battalion officer in charge of GI Joe, and they put Duke in that position. But if you look at it, that he was technically Hawk's senior NCO, so that made him the acting commander. And he brought first thing that Duke did was bring in Flint along with his other buddy Roadblock. Now, those three guys are some of the coolest Joes. We already know that. Flint he fills that role that needs to be there, and when Duke was down, and he was a lot in the cartoon at least, Flint was always there, and Flint was the leader. He was the go-to guy, and when he led missions, he was the commanding officer. And I thought that was cool about him. And you can't deny he had the coolest leader voice on the GI Joe cartoon. Bill Ratner did an excellent job of voicing Flint, and not to knock Michael Bell as Duke. He did a good job too. But Flint to me was my boy. He was the one who would come in and tell the troops, "Come on, boys, we're going home." So that's my take on Flint, and I hope you liked it. Thanks. Yeah, I thought that was my first one I ever did, and so I thought I did a decent enough job, but I definitely wasn't ready to go live for quite a while. The next one I did was Zartan, but before I get into that, what I wanted to do is read actually Flint's file card, if that would be cool with you guys. So I actually have the order of battle out to do that. That's why I got them displayed here, so I could read the file cards. And if you guys want, I can also read Techno Viper's file card. Even though he wasn't included in this series, I have the file card where I could read it for you. And so we'll turn to Flint real quick here. Take a look. Same page as Footloose there. And we got, seeing out Thursday nights are normally our read views, I wanted to kind of add this into. Codename Flint, Warrant Officer. File name, Deshelle R. Fairborn. Not going to do the serial numbers. Primary military specialty infantry, secondary military specialty helicopter pilot. Birthplace Wichita, Kansas, grade E6. Flint was a Rhodes Scholar and earned his degree in English Lit. Board by the Groves of Academy. He enlisted in the Army and applied the tenacity and concentration he had used so well scholastically to grind his way through Airborne School, Ranger School, Special Forces School, and finally Flight Warrant Officer School. Graduating each with top honors, a thorough tactical planner, Flint drafted and personally led a half dozen rescue missions in hostile territories that, for obvious reasons of security, were never publicized, let alone admitted to. Welcome, Bobby. Got me in the middle of my file card read, but nice to see you. Click Stalker to get that box out of my way. Yeah, Stalker is cool. Bobby saying hey to everybody. All right, one more little paragraph here. Flint says this is some quote probably from Hawk or one of the General Hollingsworth, maybe. I thought Cobra had us in the stinking dungeon for good, so we didn't know what was going down. We heard that chopper coming in and all the heavy hardware going off like the 4th of July. Then somebody kicked the door to our cell down, and when the smoke cleared, there was Flint with that lopsided grin saying, "Come on, boys, we're going home." I always love these old file cards written by Larry Hama. I like Stalker a lot too. I actually like Stalker as as a leader than Duke. So mine's kind of like Flint, Beachhead, Stalker, but yeah, however your order is your order. Let me see. Bobby saying I've been looking for one, but out of luck, I guess. Well, that's a bummer. Try eBay. Yeah, I haven't seen any Stalker figures on Amazon either. All right, so the next one of these, like I said, is Zartan. And if you guys want, put in the chat there if you want me to read that Techno Viper file card too. So let's check out Zartan, and I will share this. Greetings. Today, let me see if I can start that over. There we go. Greetings. Today, we're going to talk about the Zartan from the hilt. Before I get into it, though, I need to talk about something. I got a weird comment that said I was being disrespectful to Russians and possibly racist. I don't know. No context. So I decided to just nip that in the bud really quick. Anyone who has known me or gamed with me knows that racism, that's not been my thing. I don't have any tolerance for it, or I personally feel that it is a complete and utter waste of time. So that's all I'm ever going to say on that. I'm here to talk about games and toys, so let's do that. Make this my Saturday morning thing. So I got my G.I. Joe hat, I got my G.I. Joe shirt, so let's look at some toys. This is my original example of Zartan, and as you can see, it's a pretty old figure. I got this in 1985. I have all the accessories except for the tow hook for the ski crate that he came with. I don't know what happened to it. I have it somewhere, or I could have misplaced it. It's been a long time. I had the unfortunate incident that I was wondering about how that happens to people. So it happened to me where I went to put the Zartan on a peg and his ankle broke off. I was like, oh, well, I guess it finally happened to me. So welcome to my club, I guess, or the club. Zartan is one of the coolest Cobra characters. He's been around since the beginning, almost. Well, if you read the lore in the comic books, he's been around before the beginning. But as far as the action figure is concerned, he came out in 1984. He was included with the Swamp Skier, codenamed the Chameleon. I still have mine. I'm not about to take it apart. After the ankle incident, I don't want to risk that. I was like, oh, I'm not going to be one of those guys that's afraid to break stuff. But it's not that I'm afraid to break it; it's I don't want to break it. And then we have, of course, this. Now, when the modern figures came out, you can't talk about Zartan without talking a little bit about the Dreadnoughts. So you've got Buzzer. I have all of these Dreadnoughts. I have a lot of the Dreadnoughts as classic vintage examples, but I didn't want to bust them out today, but because I have the carded examples of Buzzer, and then now this is Ripper, and my favorite Dreadnought, Torch. I like a lot of the Dreadnoughts. The coolest one I'm going to give a mention to is Storm Rider, and the other one I'll mention is Road Pig. I really like those Dreadnoks. Now, Zartan came out in the 25th anniversary. He came with this little miniature chameleon, and I always found this thing to be just ridiculous. I mean, look at this thing. It is, in comparison, there is no comparison. I mean, what really? So I finally found a use for this crate. Here we go. He can carry the Zartan's mini chameleon. So that pretty much takes us to the classified figure. I did want to take this out and look at the box art. I mean, can't really see it with the glare, but that Dreadnok's background, I guess we could pull it out and take a better look at it, is very cool. I mean, what they're doing with some of the classified stuff is really, really good. Some of it not so much, but for the most part, I've really liked it. Now they have that same logo on the top here, and yes, he's number 23 in the series. I like the side art. We'll try to get the glare out of that. Give you a good look. And then the front. I mean, yeah, they made Zartan look extremely sinister on this box art, and I don't have a problem with that. I think Zartan can be sinister. If you read the comics, though, there's so much more to his character. But this classified figure, I know this is just the regular release, and that they have the Master of Disguise version, which actually changes color, and when you cool it down, opposite of what this one does. I mean, when you put him in the sunlight, he changes color. I'm not going to take him outside to risk that, but this guy here, though, and then they have the retro one that's an exclusive, but this regular release Zartan, to me, matches up more with the original. And I don't know if that's focusing or not, but it matches up better with the original than the newer ones. There's no silver on the original Zartan or blue or whatever those other ones are doing, but they still look great. But this one, this guy came with some of the weirdest stuff, a little snake head and some kind of animal claw, not really sure. He came with this really good knife at the back. I can't complain. I mean, the knife can go on the backpack, and so can the pistol. This pistol, they did a really good job of making it look like the original. I mean, putting them side by side, you can see the pistol and the two pistols look very similar, which was pretty cool. I'm glad they did that. Zartan as a character, though, he was there. It was supposed to just be the Master of Disguise, but he turned out being the leader of the Dreadnoks, which I always thought was great. Not a super Dreadnok fan, but I like the Dreadnoks. These old backpacks, though, had the original backpack. If you open it up, which is not very easy to do, has a mask that you can actually put on the figure. Now, if I can get my big old fingers out of the way, that might work. And it fits into the backpack, and I always thought that was really neat. But it kind of made him look like closest to Gung Ho, I thought, of all the Joes. And then the classified one did kind of the same thing, pretty much the same face. I mean, it looks very similar. I like the way it snaps together. Instead of you have to work at this little peg here to open it up without breaking the pegs. And with this old plastic, that can be hazardous sometimes. But Zartan is one of my favorite Cobras. Like as with Flint, he's not my favorite Cobra, but he is one of my faves. Um, what was interesting about the classified one was though it also came with this cowl that could come off, and wow, okay, bald head, but that's kind of cool because he was bald in the Rise of Cobra movie. I love this round scarf here. It just adds a nice little touch to Zartan. Uh, had the chest pad, had the knee pads, and these silver pad, these black pads for him on here. Now, the original one has little silver pads, but I have them put away here in this plastic that I keep the figure in. I keep all the figures in a nice little baggie that seals up at the top. Uh, we all have our different methods of keeping our figures protected, and that's kind of how I do it. Um, as far as Zartan is concerned, though, he had a lot of appearances in the comics, and he had a lot of appearances in the cartoon. Um, his Zach Hoffman was the guy who did his voice in the cartoon. Did a fantastic job with the accent and doing all sorts of voices. Just it seemed like they had a lot of fun whenever Zartan would show up with scripting or with um, storylines. He was always there. One of my favorite interactions with Zartan happened to be in the comic book was between him and the Baroness, where it was the Funhouse episode where him and the Baroness were sparring back and forth verbally, and he ended it with "Watch your tongue while you still have it." I thought that was great. Um, I maybe do a whole video on the Dreadnoks themselves. So somebody made a comment to me, not on the YouTube, but verbally, that maybe I should have mentioned Lady J when I was talking about Flint. I'm like, well, maybe I should have, but I thought maybe that was Flint's video. Like this is Zartan's video, so I'm not going to go into Xandor and Zorona and all that and all the rest of them. But you can't really have a Zartan video without mentioning the Dreadnoks. Where he places in the Cobra hierarchy is it's hard to fathom. It's hard to fathom the Cobra hierarchy. We have Cobra Commander and Serpentor somewhere at the top, and depending on who's writing it, as to who's really in charge. I prefer the Hamaverse where it's Cobra Commander, but Serpentor was definitely better in the comics than he was the cartoon. Even though I wonder if Larry Hama even wanted Serpentor in there. I'm not really sure. Sometimes it seems to me like he got rid of it as quick as possible. Of course, then the later years they brought him back, but Zartan always seemed to be loyal to Cobra Commander. Definitely did not have the same loyalty to Serpentor in the cartoon, at least. In the comics, Zartan was always loyal to himself first and foremost, and it was interesting to see that his character progression, where he went from one of the nastiest villains that they had to sort of a good guy, and then he was flipped back to being a bad guy. That's the comics and storytelling for you. We go back and forth on how we feel about whether a character should be a good guy or a bad guy. And in Zartan's case, he should be on the side of the bad guys, but doing his own thing, and that's where I see him at in both the comics and the cartoon, doing his own thing. Yet it's hard to say whether the Dreadnoks are part of Cobra or their own thing. I mean, they work for Cobra clearly, but they definitely are off on their own, and Zartan pays them. So I guess that's where we end the conversation on the Dreadnoks. But Zartan to me was a lot of fun, and I'm glad that they included him in the both the cartoon and the comic book. And it brings back fond memories. He's one of the first figures I got. He's the first Cobra vehicle I had. Not that it was really much of a Cobra vehicle, but when I was 15, that was great. I got it the same day I got the Dragonfly. Honestly, there's no comparison between the characters. Zartan is a Cobra and a Dreadnought, and Wild Bill who came with the Dragonfly is a Joe. I love both those characters, probably because they were a couple of the first that I got, but I really enjoy some of the interactions actually between Zartan and Wild Bill, especially in the cartoon where Zartan and the Dreadnought stole the Dragonfly one time. And it was watching the cartoon back again. It's a lot of fun, and I need to do that again here pretty soon. I usually watch them about once a year, sometimes more. Just a sucker for a G.I. Joe story, I guess. I guess I don't have much more to say about Zartan. I enjoy the character, and I hope you enjoy my video. Logan out. Yeah, that Zartan video was really cool, and a lot of people seem to like it. But Zartan's a popular character. What you got here, Victor? For me here, we got what was the name of the Cobra jet glider thingy? The Falcon glider was the Joe version, and the Viper glider was the Cobra version. So that was technically the original Viper. The Viper pilot, he was technically the original Viper. So that's kind of cool. That's kind of how Larry Hama saw the troopers and Vipers. They were all the same. He didn't differentiate. I do, but Hama does his thing. Yeah, the Viper glider. I had to remember the Falcon glider to remember the Viper glider. That's funny. Hey, no worries, buddy. You're welcome. Now, I'll read Zartan's file. I showed it there at the last in the video, and that's when I started getting the idea that I needed to have the file cards and stuff. So I ended up starting to do these promos around after like the 8th or 9th. Maybe it was even a little earlier than that. You had one? I never had any of those original gliders, not the original two. I had those newer ones they made in the 90s, but I didn't really care for those. I like the figures, though, of those 90s figures. They actually made decent figures, but those gliders were just out there. Anyway, we got Zartan, and here he is in the book there. Order of Battle, written by Larry Hama. Zartan is the Master of Disguise. His file name is unknown. Actually, they have that written there twice. File name unknown, file name unknown. Then they got birthplace unknown. An alias is too numerous to list. Bobby says she's going to go to sleep, not feeling well. Have a good night, everyone. You too, Bobby. You take it easy. And yeah, feel better. I agree. Take care, Blue Chick. All right, so Zartan can alter his skin color at will to blend in with his environment. He's also a master of disguise, master of makeup and disguise, a ventriloquist, a linguist, over 20 languages and dialects, an acrobat, contortionist, and a practitioner of several mystic martial arts. Very little is known of his background or origins, but most security agencies agree that he must have had European military academy training, probably St. Cyr. You're welcome, Bobby. You take it easy. Now, I don't remember ever hearing about the contortionist part in here. They've never had Zartan do any of that kind of weird stuff, but whatever. Now, the next one I had in the series was it is Scarlet. So let me get that one set up, and I'll play that one. Scarlet is just a really cool character. I always thought she was, well, not just that she was hot, because she is, but she was always Larry Hama's favorite character too. So that's kind of nice. But looks like I got that set up here, so I will put it up on the screen there and play that one next. Let me see if I can get this done good and proper here before I start playing it. There we go. It is much too quiet in here. We need to set the mood. Let's see what's in Christopher Hill's playlist. Never Stop Us. That'll work, because G.I. Joe is never gonna stop us. Maybe that's a little too loud. That's about right. But something's still wrong. We are in darkness. Everything seems okay. But, of course. There you are. Greetings, YouTube. I am Zartan. We have a little situation. And Christopher Hilt and I have made a small wager. Apparently he's been posting his opinions on G.I. Joe characters. And I have to say that my video that he did on me last week was, well, as he put it, well received. But he was quite surprised that the Flint video did not do as good as my video. But of course, we all know I am far more interesting than that boring Flint. Now, let us have a chat, you and I, shall we? Christopher Hilt is going to appeal to your sense of loyalty in this video. And I have to tell you, the hell with that. No loyalty, except to Cobra. He is going to ask you to have a little competition of sorts between G.I. Joe and Cobra. Who shall win? Well, I say Cobra. I want you to give all your likes to Cobra and not G.I. Joe. To hell with G.I. Joe. Wait a minute. I think I heard something. Somebody's coming. I guess the jig is up. Here. You remember. All your likes for Cobra and none for G.I. Joe. What the hell is this? Zartan, what are you doing? Are you up to no good? Me? No good? Of course not. Never. Yeah, right. This video's not supposed to be about you. You had your day in the sun. Sunlight. I hate sunlight. Yeah, I know. It's because it robs you of your camouflage ability. Not so much anymore. I've made some upgrades. Yeah, whatever. Well, this video is supposed to be about Scarlet, not you. Scarlet, for all you know, I could be Scarlet. Well, that would be a pretty impressive trick, even for you. Oh, but one I could easily pull off without a hitch. Quiet, you, or you're going to have to go back in the box. Very well. Fading away. Whatever that guy. Who does he think he is? Come down here, taking over my story. No good, low account. What you got going on here? Is this to Never Stop Us? Well, at least he has good taste in music. I better clean this up so I can start making my Scarlet video. He made a big mess here. What's all this stuff in the way? Oh my goodness, I gotta move all this stuff around. Wait a minute. Was he recording? Oh man. Lousy Cobra, always thinking it's about him. Of course you'd think it was about him, but that's not what this video is about. I gotta get back to making my Scarlet video. I better turn this off. Now, with that out of my system.
Now back to G.I. Joe.
Hello YouTube, Christopher Hilt back here with you with another Joe Takes. This is going to be Joe Takes number 3. The first Joe Takes, of course, was the Flint video, and the second was the Zartan video. Hope you enjoyed those, and want to give a small thanks to, well, big thanks to all those who check those videos out, and to all my subscribers. Thanks for tuning in. But today we're going to talk about Scarlet, and we'll start right away with the vintage figure. This, of course, is the 83 example with the swivel arm battle grip instead of the straight arm, but just it's like that. But of course, that crossbow is from a battle pack and not the original. But I don't even remember how I acquired this figure when I was a kid. Did a lot of trading and stuff. That's a pretty good. That's a pretty good figure. Later on when they did the 25th anniversary, I got the 5-pack with Scarlet and the others in that, but I only ever got one, so I didn't have a carded example. But later on, I did get the carded example of Scarlet as a pilot, and if I can get the glare off that actually, I always thought she kind of looked like Annette O'Toole in that picture. I don't know why, but I thought they did a really good job on the artwork. And definitely, this figure is really cool. A lot better than what they gave everybody with the new Haslav Sky Striker. I mean, they were going O-ring, but they could have done a better job than that. They basically just stuck her head on an Ace figure. Then they had those exclusive retro figures, and I managed to get a second Scarlet in the if I can do this right, the second Scarlet in the retro line, and I thought they did a really outstanding job on that one. I don't know why they canceled the retro line. I don't see why they couldn't do O-rings and modern figures at the same time. They're going to have fans buying G.I. Joes no matter what they do with them. And that takes us to the classified. Now I'm going to get to her regular release at the last bit there, but of the action figures. But I did want to check out the movie Scarlet, which it was actually pretty good. The head sculpt wasn't bad. Body, it doesn't really matter. And the box art was really decent. I mean, I actually kind of really like this portrait of her. And then, of course, she's number 20. But I thought, I don't know why everybody kind of hated on it, but the first release of Scarlet, if I can remember how to do this properly, she that portrait, not so bad, not so good. But the side art I thought it was really good, and actually they didn't do a bad job on this figure. And of course, she was number 5 in that in the series, in the first wave actually of the classified series. But I mean, she looks fairly close to her original vintage figure. I mean, it's not perfect, but what are you gonna do? It's Hasbro. They don't do a lot of things perfect nowadays, but they did okay. The crossbow was interesting. Sometimes it's a pain in the butt to get this crossbow set up to where it doesn't pop off all the time. And then I don't know what happened to the knife that she had, the little knife. It wasn't in the box when I opened it up today. I don't know what the heck happened to that. But yeah, this is a pretty good example of a Scarlet figure. Now, naturally, they're probably going to come out with a more vintage-based, version of in the classified series. But with all that, taken care of, In the cartoon, Scarlet had a lot of prominent episodes. I especially like the one where she was in Cobra Stops the World, and she took on a whole house full of Cobra troopers, and it culminated in her taking on a Cobra officer, and that was really fun. But my favorite scene in the cartoon was in the Menace of the Mass Device, where Snake Eyes sacrificed himself to save her, Snow Job, and Flash, and she had that little touching scene there that makes more sense once you look at the comic books. I mean, she was in all the way back in issue 1, and they didn't really say that even then that Snake Eyes and Scarlet were a couple in the comics, but this is her video, so we're not going to talk too much about the big guy, but the big silent masked man. Where I see her in the structure of the G.I. Joe leadership. Originally, she was just a sergeant, but even in G.I. Joe #1, she led that mission in the bonus storyline in the back of issue 1, Hot Potato, which that was kind of cool. She was always meant to be a G.I. Joe leader, and naturally, Larry Hama, she was his favorite character to write. So I like Scarlet. She's a pretty cool character, and I'm looking forward to see what they can do with her in the Classified series. Now, as to where she falls in line in the ranks in the cartoon and the comic book, well, in the cartoon she kind of took over quite a bit. Where she was in the command structure to start out, it was like Duke, Stalker, and then her, and then maybe Gung Ho somewhere in there. But in the Snake Eyes Origins movie, they made her a major. I don't know what she was in the other 2 movies. They figures said she was a sergeant, but that just never seemed to fit Scarlet. I mean, she is the G.I. Joe counterintelligence agent, but in the Snake Eyes Origin movie, like I said, they made her a major. But I think that went a little too far. I think the rank that suits her the best was the one she had in G.I. Joe Renegades, the animated series, where they made her a lieutenant. So I think that's kind of where she falls in there, and that's my take on Scarlet. She's a cool character, and I hope they do some more with her. Well, I need to talk a little something about the way my videos are going. I had no real idea what I was going to do when I made the Flint video. Heck, I didn't even know I was going to call them G.I. Joe takes, and until at the end of the Flint video when I said that's my take on Flint. But so I started calling them Joe takes, and I kind of like that. So we'll run with that. I think what we're going to do with these videos is I'm going to do one each week. I'm going to do a G.I. Joe 1 week and a Cobra the next, at least while I'm doing them. I'm going to take breaks here and there, and we'll see. If you like that bit I did at the beginning, please let me know in the comments, and we'll see who gets more likes, G.I. Joe or Cobra. I think Zartan maybe was a little jealous about how many likes Flint got compared to how many likes he got. Yeah, he got more attention and more people saw his video, but Flint definitely got more likes. So he definitely, I think Zartan was jealous there. So we'll see how that turns out. Thanks for watching. Logan out. Yeah, that video was pretty cool too. I like that was my first attempt at any kind of play motion. I really didn't. It's kind of still playing over there. Anyway, on the next one, I actually did a bit more, and I wanted to say hi to Superior Cyber Godzilla before we read the file card for Scarlet. And after that, we'll definitely take a look at my take on Cobra Commander, and if we have more time, we'll add that fifth one at the end. But we'll see how that goes. Scarlet is in issue 2 of the Order of Battle. So I'll pull this up here. And show you guys. There she is by Rocky Balboa, who was never actually a Joe. It was retracted in the 4th issue, 3rd or 4th issue. It's kind of funny, but they had planned on making Sylvester Stallone a Joe, but never did. Anyway, Scarlet's the counterintelligence agent. Her final name is Shauna M. O'Hara, so she really is Scarlet O'Hara. Her primary military specialty is intelligence. Her secondary military specialty is classified. Her birthplace is Atlanta, Georgia, and her grade originally was E5. Scarlet's father and 3 brothers were martial arts instructors. She began her training at age 9 and was awarded her first black belt at age 15. Graduated advanced infantry training in Ranger School, Special Ed Covered Ops School, Marine Sniper School, Special Air Service School, Marine Taekwondo Symposium, Qualified Expert M14, M16, M19, 11A1, M79, M3A1, M700 Remington Sniper Rifle, MAC-10, XK1, Power Crossbow, Throwing Stars, Garot, K-Bar. Scarlet is confident and resilient. It's remarkable that a person so deadly can still retain a sense of humor. I like how, I always wondered who those quotes are from, and it just dawned on me as I was reading it. That was Larry Hama. It was the author inserting his opinion on the character, which is kind of cool. So anyway, so next up I got Cobra Commander. Let me get it set up here, and I will pause that and get it ready to be started. I'll put it up here on the screen, and we'll let it rip. Now, like I said, I did a little bit of play motion with this one too, but we had some fun with it when we first started. Hello, Rook of All. Welcome. We're just looking at some of my old Joe Take videos, so we're going to have some fun with it. And I'll make this bigger and start it up.
Time for my 2 fire teams to check in, Breaker. The OIC wants to have a word.
You got it, Lieutenant. Give me just a second. Took me a while to set up in our temporary HQ in the dungeon.
Yeah, this place is pretty low-key.
Well, that's an understatement. I had to boost the Wi-Fi signal just to get our basic comms to even function.
I hope this won't be an issue.
I got it wired, and now it's all set. You're on the horn. Go ahead, Scarlet.
Team leader to Alpha and Bravo.
Bravo leader checking in.
Status, Beachhead.
Outer perimeter is all clear. Gung Ho and Outback are set up in a big tree to the north. Spirit and Cover Girl laying low, covering our 6.
Sounds like you got it under control.
Naturally.
Good.
Alpha leader here.
I read you, Stalker.
We're all clear inside, but this place isn't exactly the Ritz.
Not exactly up to your standards.
It's all good, Scarlet. Bazooka, Dusty, and Barbecue are prepping the backup defenses.
Where's Airtight?
Oh, I sent him to sweep the head for toxic waste. Beachhead was the last one in there, so I wasn't taking any chances. Very funny.
The captain wants a word, guys, so listen up. You're on, sir.
Joe team, this is Flint. I know this isn't an ideal assignment, but Hawk wants it done all the same. The situation is this. A local YouTuber has been posting their opinions about G.I. Joe and Cobra. Apparently Zartan managed to insert a message into the video about Scarlet that Christopher Hilt made last week. So we're here to ensure that it doesn't happen again. It's as simple as that. Any questions? Just one. Let's hear it, Stalker. Why? I understand that Zartan is somehow involved, but I never even heard of this Christopher Hilt until today. I mean, what are we even doing here? What do we care what happens on YouTube? I'll let Scarlet fill that one. I mean, after all, she is our counterintelligence agent.
No problem, Flint. Where do I begin, Stalker? This guy's a nobody, so what's Zartan's angle? We need to find out, and Hawk also thinks it might be good for PR.
I bet Zartan is pranking Cobra Commander.
Airtight, I thought you were in the head.
How long do you think it takes to pee? Admittedly, though, Beachhead was the last one in there, so it's a good thing I was wearing full hazmat gear, let me tell you. Oh, I see how it is. Fire Team Alpha's got jokes. Shit. We'll see how funny y'all think it is when we get back to the pit.
Pipe down, Joes. I'm getting some interference.
Do you think it's Cobra Breaker?
Let's just say the airtight might be onto something.
Greetings, Joe team. I thought the comms were secure, Breaker. Oh, please. I've been taking over your communications since the 80s. This is getting old, Commander. Perhaps, Flint, but today it's not about you. It's all about me. I want you to wander off somewhere where I prepare for my close-up. You are aware that Christopher Hill isn't actually going to interview you. He's just going to say be saying a few words about your character. I am sick of you, Flint.
That was quick. Must be a new record.
Silence! Doesn't matter anyway. Zartan said that today it's not about G.I. Joe, it's about me, and that means Cobra! Greetings, Joe fans. This is Christopher Hilt, and I'm here with another edition of Joe Takes. Today we're looking at a very special character, not just to me, but to the Joeverse as a whole. Today we're talking about Cobra Commander from the Hilt, and in order to do that, we got to go back to where it all began for me. But just take a quick moment here, talk about the Cobra Commander's close-up a little bit at the beginning. We're going to talk a lot more about that at the end part of this video. We had a lot of fun doing that, and I definitely want to talk a bit more about it. But a lot to talk about with Cobra Commander, so let's get right into it. When I first started collecting in 1985, I had a Cobra officer and a Cobra trooper that I had acquired back in '82, but I didn't even realize I had them until about 6 months after I was collecting. I pulled them out of my old bin of toys and found my Cobra trooper and my Cobra officer, and they were pretty much tore up because I had found them in a store and just bought them, and I liked them a lot, even back when I 3 years before. However, when I first got my my Joes, like I said with my Flint video, Flint was my original commander for my Joes. I didn't get Cobra Commander right away. He was really a hard figure to find for some reason. So I mailed away for the hooded Cobra Commander, like most of us did back then. And at the same time I mailed away for Cobra Commander, I also ordered a HISS tank, and that actually came first, oddly enough. And so for the longest time, my Cobra leader was the HISS driver. I read his file card, and I was like, this dude, he looks really cool. Now, of course, my example has no thumbs, and I really, really played the heck out of this character and this figure. But I managed to keep him relatively intact over the years. Now, a few months later, I got my hooded Cobra Commander. It was just odd that I got the one part of the order at a different time, but it was definitely a different era, especially from Hasbro back then. And mail order was way different. But I eventually did get my hooded Cobra Commander, and like the HISS driver, that figure just I played with it to death, literally. And well, over the years, broken thumbs, broken hand. All I have left is the chest piece. Even the head part, the part that connects to the body, broke. And I tried to put a screw in it and make it work, but it just never did. So my HISS character, and I didn't even realize this until I started thinking about this video, I evolved into my Cobra officer that I had. But the Cobra Trooper body completely fell apart after a few years of play and stuff. And so I would take the Cobra officer and used him like as my Cobra second in command all the time. But that body too, eventually, I still have it with my Cobra Trooper head on it, but I took the Cobra Officer head and put him on what was left of my Hooded Cobra Commander body. And then the Cobra Commander that came out in 1994, I actually ended up getting a second one. So what I did was I used the arms, crotch, and legs from the second one to build my Cobra Officer, who was, like I said, my second in command of Cobra. Now, naturally, they brought out, for the modern figures, they brought out a new HISS driver, which this particular version of the HISS driver is the coolest they put out. And it was neat that they brought him out on a card. Also, it was kind of interesting that this was my first real major Cobra vehicle. And my first major Joe vehicle was the Dragonfly. And they brought both Wild Bill and the HISS driver out in a carded example for the 25th anniversary. So it was nice to pick those up on card. Also, they brought the Cobra Officer out on the 25th anniversary. And, they did a really good job with the modern figures. I did want to bring up that I even tried to paint this Cobra Officer. I dropped his gun, but it just, I don't know, it didn't turn out very well. I did a little black on the officer badge, and it just, I don't know, the paint I used, I've never been good at that. I can't even, I don't paint. It's not something I really do. I was never even a color by numbers guy or anything like that. It's not something I really got into. So, and I really didn't get another Cobra Commander figure until way later. I got the 87 version, which was armored, but the one I used for my Hooded Cobra Commander came out in 92, I think it was, and it was this guy, and it was the Talking Battle Commander. And the next year's version is the one I used to make my Cobra Officer. And I have that other the other Cobra Commander, but I prefer that one for some reason, which is weird because I generally like the darker version of Cobra Commander over the light. But the armored Cobra Commander I thought was pretty cool. Now, I had that little backpack, but I looked all over in my stuff. It could be somewhere else. It's one of those accessories that I just never really cared for. Okay, so I did eventually acquire a helmeted Cobra Commander, and this became my go-to guy for leading Cobra. This is from the 83, so he's got the swivel arm battle grip, and he's definitely not a straight arm example, but who knows where I acquired this. There was a time where my brother and my nephew would just bring me figures that they'd trade for because they like to watch me. They like to watch me play. But when the 25th anniversary came around, they did put out a really nice version of Cobra Commander. But I actually got this one first. That has from the G.I. Joe comic book up here in the corner. And I was really, really wanting a carded example with the 25th anniversary banner up here. And so I finally found one, and I picked that up. Now, this one came with the mass device part, which was kind of cool. I ended up with all of those parts, but never the full mass device. That fifth section of the mass device only came out online, and at the time, I didn't even have access to that. But I did have the hooded version of the 25th anniversary, and every figure I have carded, I have out. So I have the whole 25th anniversary set, but not all of them carded. That was pretty expensive to try and do. Now, they did bring Cobra Commander out in the recent retro line, and it was pretty good. I mean, not all of the retro line figures, the exclusive ones were great. The Duke figure definitely had some issues, but Scarlet was great, and Cobra Commander was pretty good. So that takes us up to the classified figure, and the box art on this is really good. I mean, the way they drew the artist on this was just they just did a really good job, and the side art here. I mean, look at those Night Ravens at the top. I mean, that just was such a nice touch. I've never really showed off the back of the box much, but because it's the same old thing. And of course, was number 6 in the line. I did make sure that I had all the proper accessories for the characters using the Belomos guide. I think a lot of us Joe collectors use this. I was thinking about doing a Hitler Books review on this. I don't think I've ever seen a review. I've seen people use it and reference it all the time, but I don't think I've ever seen a review. So I might do that. I'm knowing my luck, somebody will beat me to it, but it won't matter. It'll just be my opinion on the book anyway. So that takes us to of course, the star of my little video earlier, the classified Cobra Commander. Now, this figure has its ups and downs. I mean, there's parts I really like. I love these gauntlets. I wish they would have come with the Venom pistol. I don't know why they didn't. I mean, this pistol is interesting, but it's not his original Venom pistol, which it fits right into his back. And I don't know why they went away from that. I mean, it snapped right in there, and most of the time it stayed in pretty good. Now, over time, it would get really loose, of course, and pop out. I did like his sword. This sword is pretty decent. I mean, and the snake-headed handle. I can't. You can see it, but I can't. was really cool. But then and it just the way they put things together on the classified. A lot of it, you could tell that they took some time to put them together, and it's nice. And this I could do without this cape. I mean, if you're going to do a cape, do a cape. That's why I really want the Snake Supreme version of this figure. But yeah, that was kind of expensive, and maybe later on, if I have the money, I'll get it. But these boots, oh my goodness, they come up to these little points. I don't know if you can see that in the video, but at first I'm like, why would they do that? And then I thought about it, and I'm like, Cobra Commander is just pretentious enough to wear boots with little points, so it fits the character. I don't know if it's good on the figure, but it fits the character. He always had this way of speaking too, even in the comics or the cartoon. Now, Cobra Commander, just without him, there really is no real American hero Joe-verse. Cobra Commander, to me, made the entire series. He's a little spoiler here for some upcoming videos, but he is definitely my favorite character in G.I. Joe, all Joe or Cobra. I don't know. There was just something about him. He basically shows everybody how not to be. His character, especially in the cartoon. And everybody saw him as cowardly in the cartoon, but if you really take a look at it, at least in my opinion, everybody around him was cowardly. And yeah, he ended up with shouting retreat because all his Cobras were genuinely running away at that point anyway. A leader can't lead without troops. So, I think it was less being a coward and more of, how dare you run away without me ordering you to run away, type thing. So I think he really meant to order them to run away instead of let them run away on their own. He's a very controlling character. Now, in a cartoon, Chris Latta did an awesome job doing his voice. So iconic, and no one can think of Cobra Commander without hearing that voice, and it's fun to try to do, So we had fun with that in our little skit earlier, but Cobra Commander just to me epitomizes if that's even the right word. Everything about what G.I. Joe versus Cobra is. In the comics, Hama, man, he really, really, his version of Cobra Commander, I don't see them as the same character, the cartoon and the comics. They don't act the same. They don't. Cobra Commander in the comic book is ruthless. Cobra Commander in the cartoon is diabolical and sinister, but he was more comic relief in the cartoon than he was a sinister leader. And it was always, when Cobra Commander was on the screen, it was nice to get a good laugh out of him. But in the comics, it was kind of the other way around. Rarely did Larry Hama write him as a buffoon. He did on occasion. That was probably influences. I know that he said he didn't write watch the cartoon, but I'm sure that through other people and other mediums, he was influenced a little bit by people saying how much of a buffoon Cobra Commander always acted in the cartoon. But in the comic book, Cobra Commander was always very sinister, and I think that when they tried to go the route with this armored Cobra Commander, and they had Fred the Seventh actually shoot him, and he was supposedly dead for years in the comics, 2 or 3 years, maybe even 4. It was nice to see Cobra Commander come back and it actually be the real Cobra Commander. And who knows, is it really? I mean, Hama could change that. I like Larry Hama's writing style. He changes things on a whim. And it could go either way. But the way Larry Hama had Cobra Commander speak, it was always pretentious and over the top, using words that nobody else uses. And I really like that about Cobra Commander. Some of my favorite Cobra Commander moments in the cartoon. I think my favorite of all was from the Menace of the Mass Device, and it's kind of sad because Cobra Commander had so many great moments. But my favorite moment was when he took his snake-headed staff and threw it and hit Destro in the back of the head. It showed that he wasn't afraid of Destro. I mean, Destro intimidated him, yes, but that's not the case in the comic book at all. Cobra Commander was the only one that ever seemed to intimidate Cobra Commander in the comic book was Snake Eyes, and I don't know who Snake Eyes doesn't intimidate, but maybe Scarlet. But Cobra Commander in the comics, I think my favorite moment with him was when he came back and revealed himself and pretty much executed all the ones he considered traitors in Cobra, and locked them in the freighter, in the landlocked freighter is what they called it for years. And I know a few people escaped from that, but it was interesting that he just was in the comics. He was that ruthless. He would just kill even his own men if he thought they betrayed him. And in the cartoon, you don't get that, but definitely in the comic book you do. And I think Cobra Commander and the progression of his character over the years has continued to get better and not worse. I mean, yeah, they've had some iterations of him. I mean, let's see, the Spy Troops movie. I like that movie because it's the only one written by Larry Hama. The animated, it's kind of computer generated animation. Cobra Commander was a little buffoony and over the top of that, but yet he still had that Hamaverse feel to it a little bit. I think the Valor versus Venom was a bit better put together as an animated movie, and the music from that was really good too on both of those. But Cobra Commander's character in all those movies, it seemed like they always liked to in the animated series and in the animated movies have Cobra Commander being ousted by one of his subordinates, and that really never happened in the comics so much. I mean, with Serpentor a little bit, but Serpentor really didn't take over until Cobra Commander left, and then when he supposedly came back, Cobra Commander just even as Fred the Seventh just took right back over, which led to one of the coolest story arcs in G.I. Joe, the first Cobra Civil War, which was really cool. Now, as far as Cobra Commander versus Serpentor, yeah. So Serpentor was definitely a larger and tougher and more intimidating. But even Cobra Commander wasn't afraid of him. Um, I mean, yeah, he was preserving his life by not trying to always kill Serpentor, but every opportunity he got, he seemed to undermine Serpentor in the cartoon. But in the comics, he never really he dealt with Serpentor a little bit right before he supposedly was killed and then came back. And Serpentor was dead before Cobra Commander made his big comeback. But I'm sure he'd have had maybe the whole Cobra Civil War, if you think about it, was instigated by him. As Tomax and Zaymot were on Serpentor's side supposedly, but yet we're always on Cobra Commander's sides. So it's the whole, like I said, the whole Cobra hierarchy is kind of hard to fathom sometimes. But as far as Cobra's concerned, it's interesting how Cobra Commander just always seems to have these instant funds, and I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a video just on Cobra in a couple of weeks. Next week, I'm gonna do one specifically on the entire GI Joe team. I probably should have started that way instead of doing the individual ones, but I think it is good because I got used to kind of being in front of the camera and talking about my figures and my opinions on the characters. But as far as Cobra Commander is concerned, he's my favorite. There's I like a lot of the different iterations of him. I don't think they're the same character per se. I definitely view the Hamaverse, the Cobra Commander, and that is different from the cartoon, and in my own head canon, as they say. But no matter whether it's your verse, Hamaverse, the animated verse, Cobra Commander was a mainstay and always has been, and most probably always will be. I did want to talk a little bit about the issue of why Hasbro doesn't want to do a hooded Cobra Commander. This was my first Cobra Commander as a kid. Whether he had his helmet or hood on in the cartoon or the comics, it really didn't matter. It makes him a more imposing figure, and he's supposed to be a villain. So why does he have to be politically correct? I don't get it. I hope they do bring out a classified hooded version. I know people have customized heads and stuff to put on there, but I like to just get the main line of stuff. I mean, I like I said, I do a little customization with just like Frankensteining figures, but for the most part, I like to. I'm just weird that way, a little OCD maybe. So much so that that knife in that Scarlet I lost, it ended up finding that. So you'll see that in the skit at the beginning that she still has her knife. But also speaking of that, that little skit we put together, I hope you enjoyed it. We don't expect to win any Emmys or Academy Awards or anything. We were just having fun doing it, and we hope we people enjoy it. And that's our first attempt. I don't know if we're ever going to do one again. Now that is a continuation of the bit that was in the first part of the Scarlet video. So hope you like that. And then if you're looking for Zartan's cameo, it's still coming up. So those of you who stuck with it to the end and are here at the end of the video, right before the end credits, we'll have that little. It's not very long, but it kind of turns the entire skit on its head. So I hope you enjoy that. And with that, we'll see you next time for my take on the G.I. Joe team. Thanks for watching. Logan out. Now that was an easy 300,000. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed this look back at some of my older Joe takes. I was hoping I'd have time to do some more, but the other two kind of go together. The next two, the G.I. Joe and Cobra one, and I have a premiere coming up at 9. I definitely want to be in the chat for that. So I am going to read Cobra Commander's file card here in just a second. Surface is saying, I think the hood works better with the cloak on Cobra Commander, while the helmet works better with the armor. I agree. That's a definite. I really have had fun doing some of those early Joe ticks, but it led me to how I do it now. And of course, everything is a progression in how we all do things. So like I said, I hope you enjoyed taking a look back with me. I'm going to read Cobra Commander's file and show off some of the artwork of these old comics. Really like Hama's version of things. And I thought it was cool that this particular file card had the helmet and the hood. That's really cool. And the artwork opposite the eel. This doesn't look really anything like the eel that the action figure was. It was so much cooler. But whatever. So originally they had his code name as the Enemy Leader, even though they really have switched that to Cobra Commander, and then it says he is the Cobra Commander. His file name is classified. His primary military specialty is intelligence. His secondary military specialty is ordnance, which is and it says it's experimental weaponry in parentheses, which that's exactly what Cobra Commander always does. Birthplace is classified, and his grade is Commander-in-Chief. Now his file card says absolute power, total control of the world, its people, wealth, and resources. That's the objective of Cobra Commander. This fanatical leader rules with an iron fist. He demands total loyalty and allegiance. His main battle plan for world control relies on revolution and chaos. He personally led uprisings in the Middle East, Southeast Asia, and other trouble spots, responsible for kidnapping scientists, businessmen, and military leaders, then forcing them to reveal their top-level secrets. Cobra Commander is hatred and evil personified. Corrupt, a man without scruples, probably the most dangerous man alive. That's what I always liked about his file card. The most dangerous man alive. Now, I do have this whole series of Order of Battle, and the third issue is called Cobra, and the first two are the Joes, because there's definitely a lot more Joes than Cobras. And the fourth one is all vehicles. It doesn't actually have all the vehicles, but it did cover quite a few of them, which is cool. Like I said, if you guys still want me to read that Techno Viper file card, let me know, and I will. I've got some time here, but I don't have enough time to show another of these Joe takes because I actually want to show those other two together on the same video. So if I do this again, I would definitely start with those two and work my way onto the later Joe takes. Anyway, tonight at the next hour, on top of the next hour, I am go for it. Thanks. I will. The video I'll premiere tonight is I'm trying out something new. I like to do that. I like to try out all sorts of new stuff. And Seraph says he's looking forward to it. Cool. So I might do one of those like once a month or something if I can get to them. Tonight it's called the Big Job Part 1, and what I'm going to do is kind of do a new part every month and just kind of play around with it and see how that goes. If it works out, then it works out. If it doesn't. Hopefully some of you guys will join me in the chat, or all of you. That'd be fun, and we'll watch that video together. So that's going to be in a half hour, it looks like, if I'm looking at my time right. Yeah. And that would be a lot of fun. But I am actually enjoying doing my Joe Takes live now. I used to film those and then put them up every week. I was basically doing it live style anyway. So when I made the switch, it was almost like I was doing it all along anyway. and I have a lot of fun just talking about the Joes, and I do it at midnight. That way, it's kind of a less traffic. And if I have a few people in the chat, that's cool. If I don't, it's also cool. I generally get like 2 or 3 people now, but like I said, I like doing it at midnight. I call it my Midnight Madness, and I do that it's Saturday morning. It's like Friday night after our Friday show at midnight, though. So I definitely I'm going to continue doing Joe Takes. I've only taken 2 weeks off from doing Joe Takes since I started them around Christmas time, and we'll be taking about a month off from doing anything live at the end of March and most of April. And so that's kind of going to be our vacation time. And then again in September we'll do something like we did last year where we take some time off. But for the most part, we're going to be going live all the time, just like we do basically 4 times a week. I've got the Monday night games, sometimes occasionally on Sunday. And then we've got the Thursday night read views, which is kind of what this is. And I still need to read Cobra Commander's file card for you. I did that. So I got to remember things. Hey, Bert, how you doing? Welcome. I don't know. We may take a break from gaming too, Tiger. We might do some special stuff. So we'll see. We'll discuss it. That's for sure. But thank you all for joining me tonight on this. Like I said, I definitely hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, we'll see what the future brings. We since January, we've pretty much been bringing out a video every day except for on Sundays and occasionally even on Sundays. The shorts, we have like 3 to 4 shorts, sometimes even more every day. Like today, I think we had 4 or 5. We have the Luda shorts and the Let's Ride shorts every week. So that's a lot of fun to do those. And with the superhero month coming up here on our Friday show, that's pretty much what I'm going to be focused on the Let's Ride is a bunch of superheroes on bikes and horses and whatever else feels right for them. Let me see. Victor says, check Insta in a few minutes. I did a Scarlet pick for you. Thanks, buddy. That's awesome. I'll be happy to check that out. I like pictures of Scarlet, that's for sure. Yeah. Today, Tiger made the February waifus for the 1st of February. So she's going to kind of do a calendar series of waifus and do one of those a month. And she's been doing Dragon Hybrids. That's been really cool. Hey, don't worry about it, Bert. Like I said, I'm going to be having a premiere here in just about 25 minutes. So we can continue talking in the chat then. But I'm going to take probably a few minutes break here, and then I'll jump over there on the chat and hope to see everybody over there. Again, thank you all for being here. Thank anybody who watches this in a replay. Hope you enjoy my Joe Takes. I know I'm having fun doing them. And, unless everybody just stops watching them, which hasn't been the case, I've actually been getting quite a lot of views on my Joe Takes and replays. And that's really what I'm making them for, so people can get my opinion and backstories for a lot of the Joes. And I just did Kamakura recently and had a lot of fun doing that one. So hope you guys enjoy. And we'll end it with this here, as I should do a lot of my Joe Takes, but keep forgetting. So on that note, this is Logan, and I'm out.
G.I. Joe will return after these messages.